This is episode 446 of Bella in Your Business. Welcome back to another episode of Bella in Your Business. My name is Bella Vasta. Things are good. My daughter just got back from a 2.5-week trip to Macedonia. That's where her dad's from. For those of you who have been part of this podcast for the past 11 years. Oh my God. Also, if you are watching on Spotify right now, we have a video up. We also have video up on YouTube for this podcast. You're going to see in my back corner, I got a new plant and I need help naming her. So let me know if you have any fun names for that. I was sick and tired of seeing that plug. And it's oh gosh, I even forget what that's called. It's one of those ones that are supposed to be really good for the room and the air. Aren't they all? Anyways, today we're going to talk about something that I see a lot. And honestly, it was started by Pet Sitters International. I am so excited that they posted something about AI and it sparked a lot of conversation and it was all over the board. And if you have been listening to the podcast, you know that I have been asking for other people in the industry to step up and start talking about this because it's time that we all elevate the industry with what is actually going on out there. It's just like back in, was it 2006, 7, 8? I'm really bad at dates. When I was trying to teach everyone how to do on why they should have a Facebook page for their business. And, you know, AI is just like that. But before we get into the episode, I promised my team that I would ask you to like and subscribe and comment anywhere you are listening or watching to this podcast. We spend about $100 every single episode to produce this for you with the video and the sound and the notes and the downloads and like all of it. And if you could just take a minute rating it or do a comment or liking it, that would mean the world to us. This is completely free to you. And we are now on, this is episode 446. Woo! I'm pretty sure this is probably one of the longest relationships I've ever been in. That aside from my daughter and my parents. Yeah. Okay. Today, we're going to talk all about the whole, like, I'm old school. I don't use AI. And I just want you to stay here with me. And I also want you to listen in because you might be someone who is using AI and people are like looking at you weird, or it could be people on your staff. It could be your friends. It could be your family. It could be other colleagues, or you could just be one of those people that are not as knowledgeable about what it actually could do. Or maybe you've had a really bad experience with AI and you're thinking, it's so generic and I like to be personal. So this post in Pet Sitters International on their public page where people were publicly commenting, and I'm not going to shout out anyone's names, even though it was public. I had a couple of my clients be like, oh, look. And I commented. I was a little scared too, because, you know, sometimes people don't like other people commenting on their stuff. But it was great. It got to stay up there. We had some good conversations and it was all over the board. It was from, I don't use AI because I'm old school and I like to be authentic, to I use AI for everything and everything in between. And one of my clients was like, Bella, you should do a podcast on this. So I'd like to say thank you to her and thank you for encouraging, because sometimes when you talk a lot about something, you have your blinders on, right? And so I've prepared this podcast for you today. And I'm going to start out talking about my dad. He would kill me if he knew that I was talking about him right now. Or in some way, he'd probably tell me, no, that's not exactly what I said. But my dad doesn't listen to this podcast episode, so please don't share it with him. Just kidding. I'm kidding, of course. Love my dad. But it's literally like, hey, Dad, put down the newspaper and listen to this, right? And my dad's 69 years old. Well, I'll get into it. I'm going to stick to my notes right now so I don't go off in so many different ways. If you've ever said that you're old school and I don't use AI, I'm literally going to prove you wrong in the next 30 minutes or less than of. And by the end of this episode, you're going to realize that you've been using AI almost every single day for years. So I want you to open up your mind. Is there a possibility that you're not completely right? And I'm not necessarily here to convince you, but I'm here to kind of make you just open your mind and ponder a couple of things. And so oftentimes when this happens, it feels uncomfortable. Bella, you're challenging my personal beliefs. Yes, I am, but I'm not judging you. I'm not condemning you, nothing like that. But I just want you to open your mind, please, during this episode. And the question isn't whether you use AI or not. It's whether you're going to keep pretending like you don't, because every single person out there is actually using it, whether they realize it or not. So, wake up call. We are all living in AI land, okay? And so, let me tell you a hypothetical truth about this morning that you probably have done. Maybe not all of them, but it's pretty reasonable to have this, right? So, before 9 a.m., that show recommendation from Netflix or Amazon Prime, AI analyzed millions of viewing patterns based upon your own to show you those. Or Spotify or Pandora, which you might be listening to this episode on, AI calculating traffic patterns and routing optimization in real time. Okay, it's literally taking the information of what you've used and presenting you with stuff that you're going to like or it's going to appeal to you. Think about it. I mean, you might be getting a lot of self-help books. So you're not going to get like how to build a construction site because that's like way out of left field for you. Online banking and fraud detection, AI is scanning every transaction to protect your money. So when they're like, oops, you might have fraud, it's AI that's done that in the background. Or maybe a Google search. This is something that a lot of people use. Like, you cannot do a Google search without AI. It's the difference between like how to start a business, right? But Google probably knows that you're in a pet sitting business. And so it's going to come up with like how to start a pet sitting business. It's interpreting what you meant to search for and not just what you typed, right? That's why we don't have to be literal with the exact 3 or 4 words that we use anymore, right? The weather app. I'm sure you've all looked at that at some point within the last 24 hours. Maybe not so much in Arizona because it's just hot right now. But AI processes that satellite data and the atmospheric models for your location. Amazon or online, if you've ever shopped online, it could be Amazon, it could be something else, but AI is going to show you products that you actually want to buy based off of what you've already bought. Photo organization, this one's big, okay? AI recognizes faces and organizing your family photos. So, someone says they want to see what my daughter looks like. I can go search for her name and it analyzes all the pictures of her and brings them all up, right? Or voice assistant. Have you ever been like, hey, Siri, or hey, Alexa? I'm not going to like say it out loud because I don't want your machines to go off. Actually, I could just to prove a point, but I'm not going to. So when you say you don't use AI, it's like someone literally saying, okay, this is really important. This is really important. I think we might even clip this part. When you say that you don't use AI, it's literally like someone saying, I don't use electricity while sitting in a lit room with the TV on. You're not being old school. You're being willfully ignorant. Okay, I know that's a heavy word and that usually is like insulting. Ignorant means you're ignoring things, right? It means you're ignoring certain things. Okay, so I'm not coming for you. Please don't think that. But I also want to give you some thought processes of how things have evolved and why we are in this evolution right now. Okay, here's the Hall of Fame of stubborn resistance. Okay, you probably know most of these because you guys are really smart. Blockbuster, 1997 to 2010. They had the chance to buy Netflix for $50 million, but they said people want the experience of going to the store. And they said streaming will never be replaced by physical media. And their result was bankruptcy, while Netflix became a $240 billion company. Polaroid, 1975 to 2008. It invented digital photography in 1975. They had this technology and they sat on it for 20 years. They said digital film will kill our business. They refused to cannibalize their own product. Okay. And the result was that Apple and others dominated the digital camera market. Kodak, 1988 to 2012, created the first digital camera in 1975. Digital photos aren't as good as film, they said. Our customers love the ritual of developing photos. And the result was that they filed for bankruptcy in 2012. Taxi industry versus Uber. And now soon Uber is going to be replaced by the atomic cars, okay? But the taxi industry would say people prefer calling a cab company Ride sharing isn't safe. We've been doing this for 100 years. The result? Uber valued at $93 billion. And let me just tell you, as a person who Arizona is like very easy to get like Waymos. And I heard right now, as of July 2025, they're approving what is happening in Austin, which is for Tesla robo taxis to come here. Okay. I've driven in Waymo many times. I've introduced my friends to it, and it is like the best experience ever. They're Porsches and they're clean, and you can control the music, and there's no smelly. I hate those air fresheners. They like make me sick. You don't have to talk to anyone. They drive super safe. Like they go exactly the speed limit. There's no like tapping the gas or the brakes, and it's my preference. But like, I mean, Tesla's about to come out and no matter how you feel about politics or Elon or any of this, I'm talking technology, okay? Elon's goal is to have a one-way taxi for like $4.80. That is going to completely dismantle Uber. And so unless Uber starts also changing, and they have adopted a lot of cars are already Teslas. Tesla, I'm not even going to go into that. That's just down a rabbit hole. I could talk about that forever. It's just the innovation of it and the disruption that's happening. It's happening all around us. That's my point for today's podcast, okay? And so your old school mentality, it's not preserving tradition. It's guaranteeing obsoleteness. And it doesn't mean that you can't still continue that tradition, but there's room for all of it, okay? So let's dismantle the struggle versus worth myth, okay? Because I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, come for me. Like write in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. Email me, leave a comment, message me, DM me, whatever you want to do. You can get me everywhere. Bella@jumpconsulting.net or Bella Vasta everywhere. I believe that we were raised more so, and I'll be 43 on Friday. So the day after this comes out, I'll be 43. Which, by the way, I'm actually doing 43% off business coaching until Sunday. So you can buy a 6-pack for 43% off. If you want in on that deal, shoot me an email, bella@jumpconsulting.net. I only do this once a year, and it's 43% off. So it's $22.75 for 6 sessions you can use within 6 months. Okay. But I have this feeling that like there's like this generational conditioning. Like a lot of us were raised to believe that if it's not hard and we didn't work hard and we didn't struggle, then it's not valuable. Like we have to struggle in order for things to be valuable. Do you feel that way? Or have you seen that out there? And that also that struggling builds character, and that if you shortcut anything, you're cheating. I'll never forget my dad being like, no daughter of mine is going to have a digital watch. She's going to learn how to read time. And the same thing with calculators, right? I mean, if you're in my age group or know someone who is or whatever, I can only obviously talk about my own experience. It was like, oh, you have to learn how to do this algebra. The calculator can't do it for you. Well, why? Why? I like literally don't need to know how to do that anymore. And so shortcuts aren't cheating. It's like however you get to it. And even as an autistic mom, my daughter is obsessed with Gemini and ChatGPT. I cannot even explain to you how many pictures she's created. She's on like season 21 of this like story that she's creating between this character Zoe and a smart home and Pandora and Avatar, which she loves. And her creation and her creativity is just like, pfft. But she's doing a lot of talking. She's not typing, she's talking it. And it's brilliant, the things that she comes up with. So as a mom, I'm like, does the method in which we get to something really matter if we're getting to something that is amazing and miraculous? Think about it. Again, I would love to sit here and have a conversation with you, but TikTok, we're on the clock and I don't want to make this too long for you. So let me ask you, like, here's another thought process to this. Like, when is the last time that you took your clothes and you scrubbed them by hand instead of using a washing machine? If you use a washing machine, are you being lazy? When was the last time you used a calculator instead of an acabus? How do you say that? I can't even say that. Are you cheating? And when was the last time you used a car instead of walking? Okay, it's literally just technology and inventions that help make our life better. I've heard people say that they don't want to use AI because they want to do things the right way. But really what you're doing is spending 3 hours on something that could take 30 minutes. And those extra 2.5 hours, what is it taking you away from? Is it taking you away from spending quality time with your child instead of in the office working while they're home from school break? Is it getting frustrated and stressed over tasks that could be effortless? I'm not going to create this marketing campaign. I'm not going to send out these emails because I don't know what to say. Is it having less time for the things that actually matter to you? Like, real talk here, okay? The resistance, I believe, to AI, it's not about maintaining quality because that's an easy fix. I do agree that some AI, when you do it, it feels really generic and it feels really gross and it doesn't feel personal and authentic. And that is just the way in which you're using it, AKA the way in which you drive a car, okay? But it's not about maintaining quality. It's that this person who's afraid of AI, they don't want to look stupid. They fear change because they don't understand what it takes to do the change. And they fear that maybe there's a better way to do it, but they're not quite sure. So they'd rather stick with what they know and the absolute. And I get that. But I encourage you so strongly, like I've talked before on this podcast before, have an open mind, have a growth mindset. Because I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to call upon this episode in a year or two from now, this is not a trend. This is not going away. It is going to cannibalize you like Netflix, Blockbuster, Polaroid, Kodak, if you do not open your minds and try to figure it out. I'm not telling you that you have to go program robots, okay? I'm just telling you, open your mind. What I've dedicated my business to the past 7 months has literally been to be a strainer. You have all this AI talk and you get all confused about what should I be doing and where should I be doing it? And I'm this strainer that says, do this exact thing in your pet sitting business and use this tool. And this is how it all does. Do you know that all of my trainings are under 20 minutes? Most of that is me talking because it takes about 5 minutes to do this stuff. That's it. There's no complicated tech when it comes to it. There really isn't. And now your time is the most precious resource. Let's go back to my dad. If you promise not to tell him I'm talking about him on my podcast, okay? He's 69 years old. Let's do the math, okay? Let's say he has until 95 to live, okay? He has roughly, I don't know, 160,000 hours. Is he really going to spend them doing tasks that a computer could do rather than hanging out with his granddaughter and taking her to the movies or something because he has to work on a Saturday because he's a real estate agent? Is he going to sit there and try to figure out how to type? By the way, he also types like this. I'm pointing with finger, finger, finger. He types just like my daughter, actually, right? Again, I think it's a generational thing. You know, we were sat there like Q, 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 space, R, 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 space, Q, R, T, right? I mean, that's pretty nostalgic. If you're my age, you understand that. Anyways, in the pet care industry, scheduling can go from 2 hours of phone tag to 5 minutes of automated booking. Client communication from individual calls on the phone to personalized mass messaging. Route optimization from guessing and typing into things into Google or typing routes into putting all these addresses in and having Google do it for you versus copy and pasting and all of a sudden a whole entire GPS efficient route. Record keeping from paper chaos. Oh my God, I saw some of that this weekend. People are still doing records by pen and paper to instant digital organization, okay? Or marketing from hoping you find people or you appeal to certain kind of people to like literally creating your own avatars in your AI system softwares, which by the way, I have trainings on that in the mastermind, to then being able to at any point being like, yo, I need something that's going to make Ava stop her scroll and she's going to want to book for Labor Day coming up. I need a whole campaign. I need a carousel. I need a post and I need an idea for a 30-second video that I can do on Reels. Make Ava cry. Enter. It's literally what I would do. You don't have to think about any of it. You don't have to think about some generic random post that could appeal to any company because your AI knows Ava. Ava is your exact client. Ava is that client that pays on time, tips a ton, books ahead, is so appreciative, leaves you gifts, tells her friends about you, goes away all the time, or uses you 5 days a week and never cancels dog walks, okay? That person, I get goosebumps thinking about it. It can literally save you, like, let's say 2 hours per day, 730 hours per week. That's 18 full work weeks. That's 4.5 months of your life back. What would you do with that extra 4.5 months? Okay, AI doesn't make you less authentic unless you're using it wrong. Let me repeat that. AI does not make you less authentic unless you're using it wrong. It makes you more available for the things that require the human touch. Instead of spending time on data entry or trying to look at your call log and figure out what are we spending the most amount of times on our call log, or why are we not landing the sale? Where is our KPIs, falling off? You can have Gemini analyze that for you in 5 seconds. You can actually care for the animals, spend more time caring for the animals, spend more time with your family, spend more time just calming your nervous system by laying on the couch in silence. Yes, I know that's really uncomfortable for a lot of people. So the real authenticity problem is using AI wrong, all right? Truth bomb. I need to call a timeout. After talking to my dad, I realized something here. And most of you actually aren't refusing to use AI. And this is the epiphany that I had. It's just that you're rejecting AI because when you use it, it sounds like garbage. It sounds generic, robotic, like nothing like you, right? And you're absolutely right to hate it. I would hate it too. I would tell you absolutely do not use it if it sounds generic. Do not be inauthentic out there. I am in agreement with everyone that says, I want to be authentic. The root cause is, but what nobody told you is that AI isn't the problem. It's that, don't hate me, don't come for me. The way you're using it is the problem, okay? When you type, write me a real estate listing into ChatGPT, you're gonna get a vanilla, boring, cookie cutter copy that sounds like everyone else. That's what my dad and I were talking about. But the game-changing reality is, as I said, Dad, send me your last 10 listings. I'm gonna do something for you. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna train AI based off of his words and how he likes to show up in these listings. And that's exactly what you can do in so many areas of your business. Generic, beautiful 3-bedroom home in a desirable neighborhood, perfect for families, move-in ready, updated kitchen and spacious backyard, must see. Snooze fest. Listen, I've been selling homes in this area for 30 years, and this house, this is the one that your wife is going to fall in love with seconds she walks through that door. The kitchen's got more counter space than most restaurants, and the backyard, your kids are gonna spend more time out there than on their phones for once. There's like a difference in that. Maybe that's his style, maybe that's not his style, but those are two different styles. And you're gonna get the first generic style unless you train it, okay? And so what most people don't understand is that you need to teach the AI how to communicate. You need to feed it examples of his best listings. We need to show it emails that got you results. We need to give it the personality quirks and speaking style. And I've done so many episodes on this already. You need to tell what your values are, what your truths are, what you believe, what your convictions are. Okay, not just don't use emojis and don't use M-dashes. Stop thinking of AI as a magic writing bot. Think of it as your personal apprentice who needs to learn how you do business. You have to train it. If you're gonna come into it raw, it's like hiring someone off the street and expecting them to know your business. They don't. And then it's going to be inauthentic and you're gonna get frustrated. But once it learns the style, it can be better than you. This is also really important. Once AI learns your style, they can be better than you on your worst day or your best day because it's not tired and rushing. It's not stressed out about deadlines. It's not waiting to have a day off. It's not trying to write outside your expertise. We can't be our best self all the time. AI can if we invest in it and we invest in our time to train it. So like your most successful writings, emails that got clients excited, your Facebook posts that got lots of engagement. All of this is great artifacts to gather together to be like, look, this is who I am. If you put that in, you're not gonna get inauthenticity back to you, all right? And you're not gonna just ask it to like write a social media post. You're gonna Tell it, I'm a pet sitter with 20 years of experience. I'm known for being direct and honest. I always mention practical ideas, things like that. And then also the first attempt might not be good. Don't be afraid to tell it no. It's always going to give you an answer no matter what. I did an entire episode on how to make your AI not like a yes man. And then once you do it, it's not black and white. It's not done. You have to keep feeding it your stuff as it gets better and better and better. You're not cheating. You're scaling your expertise. There is no difference between this and you training an assistant to help you out and to help write emails. Do you say that, the assistant is inauthentic? No, we don't. So let me close this by do you want to be remembered as the person who adapted and thrived, or the person who stubbornly clung onto outdated methods while opportunities passed you by? For the next 30 days, I know I'm making you so uncomfortable today. I want to try to challenge you to use one AI tool in business, just one. Track the time it saves you. And yes, you know what? You're probably going to get frustrated at the beginning because everything's frustrating when you don't know what you're doing. Reach out to me. I've got trainings on everything. And then come back to me and tell me that it's not worth it. I'll wait. August 15th, I want to know. You're not old school, you're smart school. And smart people use the best tools available. I want you to consider to stop fighting the future and start using it in a smart way to accomplish whatever it is that you want. And I'm going to close with this. I'm going to say, as a business coach for 20 years, almost every single person out there wants two things. They want time freedom and they want financial freedom. And if you leverage the right tools in the right way, it is going to help accelerate getting to those goals. This has been another episode of Bella in Your Business. Please like, share, comment, post this, and share this with other people that you might have been speaking with that are like, I don't do AI, I'm old school, I want to be authentic. And let's have a conversation. I am totally willing to talk this out with you. If you feel like you want to spar with me on the phone, and I say that lovingly, jumpconsulting.net/20. Get on my calendar. Let's talk about it. If you're like, these are all the thoughts in my head and I want you to tell me why I'm wrong, or how can I work past this stuff? These are my objections, but I'm open to being wrong. Let's have a conversation. Let's do it. Because I'm at the point in my career where I do this because I want to elevate the industry. I want to empower you and I want to help you achieve all the goals and dreams you ever want. I have clients that are making $2 million a year right now. This industry is growing. It's not in its infancy stage anymore. You can do anything you want, and I'm here to remind you of that. Remember, when life gets you down, always keep jumping. Bye now.